which is why is Bitcoin the winner? It's because all the smart money in the world decided that's the winner. Okay, so you can fork it and create your own, and you will have to find stupid poor people to buy yours. But why would I actually want to put all my money in the network with the stupid poor people when I've already got the network with the smart rich people, right? If you have $100 million and you put it into gold and you wait 100 years, you'll have $12 million worth of gold. That's why you don't want gold, right? It's like you had one country, the United States, that won every war, and yet that country's currency lost 99.9% of its value against scarce assets.
2024年倒数2个月，你的资产有比去年多吗？如果没有，未必是你不努力，而是一开始就选错路了。正当比特币价格一次次创下新高时，为什么以太币为首的山寨币们却像一滩死水？让亿万富翁，也是全球持有最多比特币的美国上市公司 MicroStrategy 创办人 Michael Saylor 告诉你，10月份纽西兰发行量最大的报纸纽西兰先驱报资深记者 Madison 采访 Michael Saylor， 讨论了为什么投资比特币比较好，而不是以太币等山寨币，还分析最好的投资应该要符合2大要素。为什么黄金、股票甚至房地产不符合？上千名网友认为这是他们看过最棒的采访，并且在最后我还会分享自己投资币圈4年来唯一持续获利的方式。如果你想把握2024年的最后机会增加资产，今天的影片不仅掌握亿万富翁 Michael Saylor 最新的观点，更会学到具体的获利方法，千万别错过。嗨，我是 Emma， 带你在币圈趋势中打造属于自己的被动收入，记得订阅并打开小铃铛，这样你就不会错过财富密码咯。
And if you consider the economic cycle that we've been through over the past 4 years while you've been accumulating Bitcoin like crazy, how has that, in your mind, increased its superiority?
So, a short summary, why is Bitcoin better? First of all, if I had 100 rich families and they lived all over the world and they didn't trust the government and they didn't trust a bank and they didn't trust a corporation and they had a lot of money and they wanted to keep their money for 1,000 years. If God came down from heaven above and said, hey, I'll run the God bank, issue 21 million God coin, and I will make sure that no one can steal your God coins. You can buy in however you want and you can trade telepathically with each other and I'll do this for free. They'd probably accept that, right? The history of the human race is people looking to heaven to solve their problems in every religion. Okay. In the absence of God coin and God coming down to do this, the next best thing would be an intelligent engineer that creates a crypto network that combines semiconductor technology, public-private key encryption, and the internet, TCP/IP, okay? That's a crypto coin. So now we create a crypto coin, and the question is, who's going to run the software? Because nobody trusts anybody, and maybe I trust you and you trust me, but I don't trust your idiot great-grandson. You don't even had him yet. I mean, how could we trust your great-great-grandchild? Okay, so we're all going to run the software. And we're going to run it on thousands and hundreds of thousands of nodes, and anybody whose software cheats gets kicked off the network. Okay, that's the idea of Bitcoin. It's basically a crypto asset network. Now the question is, okay, I figured that out. Now what kind of monetary policy I want? I want 21 million hard cap forever, never can make any more. I want a scarcity. I don't want nobody can make any more. Okay, that's good. Now the question is, okay, I did that. Now which network is going to win? So we launched Bitcoin as the 40th try, and the first one with the right monetary policy, the right cryptography, and an equitable launch. Satoshi launches it, walks away forever, disclaims beneficial ownership. It's an immaculate conception. Okay, what if somebody else launched another crypto network with an immaculate conception? There's been 5 million cryptos launched. Most of them are not immaculately conceived. Some of them still have the founding teams that are getting rich off of them. when there's a founding team getting rich off of them with a jet and with an office or with a mansion, it doesn't look immaculate. There's no Satoshi in a swimming pool flying his jet around as a billionaire, right? That's
Maybe
why,
he is, we don't know. We don't know who he, she, they are.
And the point is, we absolutely know there isn't, because the coins have not moved in 15 years and we can see them. So now the question is, you've got all these smart families and they're staring at the crypto gold network, if you will, or gold's not even a good example, just a crypto bank. And the question is, which network is the best one? Well, we sort through it and we try Bitcoin and it kind of works for a while, and then we trust it and more money gets onto it. And for a while we're not sure, and then 2020 some crazy entrepreneur buys $250 million of it for a public company. And that's the first time in 10 years anybody ever bought $250 million on a network, and people are like, oh my God. Yeah. And then that same person buys another $9.7 billion of it. And so
he must be crazy, my God.
Okay, so in that time where there's one company, MicroStrategy, buying $10 billion of that asset, not a single person ever publicly spent $250 million on any other crypto asset, ever. Of the 5 million, nobody even put in the first 250 million. Nobody put in 100 million, right? Go find it, you won't find it. So now you have an interesting issue, which is, why is Bitcoin the winner? It's because all the smart money in the world decided that's the winner. Did it have to be? Well, no, it's like, why do we speak English? Because all the rich, powerful people decided on English. Could it have been a different language? It could have been French. Napoleon wanted it to be French, but it wasn't French. It was English. Why do we use base 10 math? Because all of the rich, powerful engineering companies use it. Is it the only form of math? No. There's base 2, base 8, base 16, right?
Same with measurement standards.
Why? We have the big joke about the metric system, right? We're still trying to work through that protocol. So Bitcoin is the protocol that the rich, powerful, smart people chose. Okay, so you can fork it and create your own, and you will have to find stupid, poor people to buy yours. But why would I actually want to put all my money in the network with the stupid, poor people when I've already got the network with the smart, rich people, right? And the result of that is Bitcoin is the most powerful crypto network in the world, and you can measure it by a computer power, 700 exahash. That's $40 billion of special purpose semiconductors that generate more hashes than all the computer power of Microsoft, all the computer power of Amazon, all the computer power of Meta. If they all ganged up on it, they still can't get to 700 exahash. It's the most powerful computer network. Then it has 18 gigawatts. 18 gigawatts of electric power. That's the most powerful, electrically powerful network. 18 gigawatts is more power than the US Navy uses to run all the aircraft carriers and the destroyers and the battleships.
Wow.
We conquered the world with less than 18 gigawatts of power. It's 18 full-on nuclear reactors running full-on, right? Spread everywhere in the world. Okay, how does that compare to the second best? The second best has like 0.1% that much power. How about the hash rate? 1%, maybe. And then $800 billion of actual capital. MicroStrategy spent $10 billion to get 1.2%. Work it out in your head. Look at the 4-year simple moving average of Bitcoin and multiply it by the number of Bitcoin. Look at the trading volume. Look at real people, thousands of institutional investors with real money at risk. The Bitcoin miners, the BlackRocks, etc. Right? Like 70 billion, $60 billion put into just the ETFs alone. Real money, right? 800 billion in capital has backed the network. So what's the second best? The second best doesn't even have 8. Like 99% of the real money went into the Bitcoin network. Everything else you read about in crypto, right? All the other crypto assets that might be a store of value. I'm not counting the stable coins because they're just dollar pegged. But everything else probably doesn't even have 8 billion. It might have a few $1 billion, right? So it's like 99% to 99.9% dominant. And then you go to the political power. Well, there's 420 million crypto people that love crypto, but what's the reserve asset of crypto? It's Bitcoin. 420 million voters, and then 200 million people that hold an instrument backed by Bitcoin. So, what's the source of the network? Political power, electrical power, digital, computer power, economic power, right? That's the source of power of the network.
Michael 也太敢说真话。我一开始会被区块链吸引，就是因为去中心化，不会被政府、集团等少数人控制。但是随着越了解币圈，反而越困惑，因为币圈活动中基本上都是各种加密货币创办人的推广活动，诉说伟大的愿景，想要帮助世界，得到一批批忠诚者的支持。拿到钱后，开始过着奢华生活，住豪宅，搭私人飞机，而我们这些支持者就是每天通勤挤捷运，努力工作却看不到薪水上涨，不小心做错事就被老板骂到臭头，很自然会羡慕他们精彩的生活，希望自己未来也能这样，因此就买了更多加密货币，期待币价上涨的那天就能改变痛苦的一切。最后却得到了什么？创办人拿到钱离开，币价暴跌，这一切好像做梦一样。这个状况在币圈称为 rug pull， 诈骗者突然抽走地毯，让我们小资族来不及反应，就摔个狗吃屎。所以当你想要投资任何币圈项目，以太币也好，迷因币也好，别忘了先问问自己，比特币是全世界有钱、有权和精英们共同做出的选择。你真的想将自己努力工作赚来的钱投资到愚蠢又贫穷又贪婪的人组成的网络里吗？如果你想投资最好的资产，如果你想投资最好的网络，跟上有钱人的脚步，我准备一份比特币懒人包，非常适合你。总结我过去3年在比特币投资中的成功与失败经验，分享了正确的投资心态和实用步骤。你可以在资讯栏的第2条链接中找到。目前已有超过500人领取，早早享受到了投资的回报。只要花3分钟看完，3个月内你满满的荷包会非常感谢现在的自己。
Well, the gold supply is going to double every 30 years. And you can't teleport gold 60 times a second. And the AI is not going to want the gold, right? And you can't put gold on your iPhone, right? Gold's not digital. If you have $100 million and you put it into gold and you wait 100 years, you'll have $12 million worth of gold. That's why you don't want gold. If you have $100 million of Bitcoin and you hold it 100 years, you'll still have the $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? So gold is the best of the commodities, but it's awful because it's got a 2% inflation rate. What's the difference between 2% inflation rate and 0% inflation rate? It's the difference between living 30 years and living forever. Like one is mortal, okay? Here's your choice. Take the orange pill, you live forever. Take the gold pill, you're half dead in 30 years, you're half dead, you're gonna live 75, 80 and you're dead, right? This is a mortal life, this is immortal life. That's the difference between 0 and 2%. Gold is the greatest of the commodities. Every other commodity inflates at 10% a year, 20% a year, 50% a year. They're awful. Commodities are awful stores of value. But what are they good at? Here's what they're good at. Commodities are ethically sound. Okay? That means they're an asset without an issuer. You can promote gold or a chicken in every pot or land or silver, or you can promote soybeans, or you can tell people to keep kerosene behind their house. Those are commodities. You cannot promote a security. A security is an asset with an issuer. If a senator says, God bless Apple, she's promoting a security. If a senator says, God bless Bitcoin, they're promoting a commodity. It's like promoting bluegrass music. It's like promoting fasting. It's simply a cultural or a technical idea. So what do you want as your long-term store of value? You want something economically sound. That means absolutely zero inflation rate forever, and nobody can screw with that. You want something ethically sound. That means an asset without an issuer, where the inventor, Prometheus, disappeared. You own fire, electricity, you can use it. The English language, you can use it. Math, you can use it. Bitcoin, you can use it. There's no company with copyright that charges you a royalty, right? It needs to be ethically sound, needs to be a commodity, right? And finally, it needs to be technically sound. good engineering. And so, a building is sort of economically sound, not as good as Bitcoin because you've got property taxes and entropy,
And earthquakes happen.
And a share of Magnificent Seven, it's kind of economically sound, but it's a security. And if the Chinese decide to seize Apple's assets, or if the U.S. seizes a Chinese company's assets, you've got all sorts of political risk. But Bitcoin is both the economically sound asset and it's the ethically sound asset, but it's a big tech digital network. It means that I can move $100 billion a million times a second. Okay, so what the big idea is, I can give a capital asset to 8 billion people on their mobile phone, and 10 million computers can trade it a million times an hour across every jurisdiction, right? And so if you want to give music to 8 billion people, you need digital music. You can't do it with records and 8-track tapes. And if you want to give digital communications, right? You want to give education to 8 billion people, you need digital education. You need to give them lectures for free for the cost of electrons. And if you want to give wealth to 8 billion people, you need digital capital. You need to put your wealth on your iPhone, and you need to know that it will last forever. And I just ask anybody, I ask you, what do you own in your life that you think your family will still have intact that will be valuable 300 years from now? Right? Mm-hmm. What would that be, right? Because there's no conventional thing, there's no company that's going to last 300 years, right? They might not live in New Zealand 300 years from now. I could give you 10,000 acres in Auckland, and the issue is, so can you take it with you when the government changes and they decide to seize the assets of people with blue eyes? Right? Because it happens. If you look at the history of the 20th century, and you're like, what country didn't seize the assets of somebody over 100 years, right? It's like you had one country, the United States, that won every war, and yet that country's currency lost 99.9% of its value against scarce assets. That's the winner, right? The winner gives you 0.1% of your wealth. All, the rest is all just anxiety-inducing counterparty risk.
真的 ，Michael 认为一个好的投资要符合2大条件：道德和经济。世界上最赚钱的方法都写在刑法中，像是黄、赌、嫖，但这些不符合道德。相反的，黄金已经有几千年的历史，几乎没有了怀疑黄金的价值，符合道德。但在经济上却有通货膨胀以及移动困难的问题。同样的，小资族最爱投资的股票和房地产符合经济价值，但却有严重的政治风险。一旦发生战争，再有钱的地主，再厉害的企业家都逃不过资产亏损的命运。法币就更不用说了，完全不符合经济。即便是最强大的法币美元，100年来贬值超过 96%， 其他小国的货币贬值的速度更快。比特币是少数同时符合道德和经济价值的投资，只是比特币的优点同时也是它的缺点，价格波动太大了，一天上涨下跌 10% 都是很正常的事情。我明白对亿万富翁来说肯定没差，毕竟他的资金是募来的，但我们小资族的资金都是每天努力工作省吃俭用才存下来的。就算比特币你买在一个好的时间，如果你无法承受它的价格波动，每次暴涨和暴跌中就很容易被甩出去。更不用说，如果你今天投资的金额超过预期，一个晚上几十万甚至几百万的波动，怎么能够安心睡觉？那有没有其他更稳定的投资方法，既能参与币圈，又能降低风险，获取稳定的被动收入呢？当然有，那就是放贷。投 透过提供资金给交易员赚取稳定的利息，不仅可以让我们在币圈投资的波动降低，却能同时享受因为加密货币高波动所带来的稳定利息，是我投资币圈4年来唯一持续获利的方式。不仅帮我 fire 老板在2022年裸辞，更加速实现买房的目标，超级感谢币圈。我准备了一个45分钟的影片，分享自己是如何从币圈的高波动压力下，最后成功打造一份稳定安心的被动收入。你可以在资讯栏的第一条链接中找到，并且限时免费加送投资比特币胜率 99% 的秘密，相信一定能帮助你投资币圈更顺利。最开心的是，不只有我从中获利，来自台湾、杜拜、香港各地的同学们也都成功透过币圈放贷获利，实现躺平赚钱的目标。下一位幸运儿是你吗？
你好，幸运儿。
投资没有对错，只有个人选择。好奇你会将资金投入到1. 聪明又富有的比特币， 2. 愚蠢又贫穷的以太币呢？为什么呢？欢迎在底下留言分享你的看法。我是 Emma， 还会继续分享关于币圈投资被动收入的经验。记得按赞、订阅、开启旁边的小铃铛，并打开全部，还有 follow 我的 IG 哦，那你就不会错过这些知识了。我们下周见，拜拜。